So, hey, y'all, just want to come in here real quick. Today, we're going to be talking about bodily injury liability. So, a lot of people may not know what their coverage is. In fact, a lot of people don't know what the coverages actually mean, nor do they seem to care, especially if they've never had an accident. Because if they've had an accident, then you generally going to know what those coverages mean sometimes. Sometimes people don't even know what the policy paid. Because generally speaking, one thing you may not know is that your adjuster, you may not know the final outcome of your claim, unless you ask for a copy of the outcome. So a lot of times when people come to me for a quote and I'll say, well, you had a claim that paid out $45,000, that might be blocking your rates and doing something with it. And that'd be $45,000. I didn't get no $45,000. You may not have gotten it, but were you at fault? Were you at fault? You don't know what kind of claims that other person had because ain't nobody giving you no accounting of that. Nobody's sending you no accounting of the claims. And do you know why? Why would they send you some accounting of the claims when you're not a doctor? You're not a hospital. You're not a physician. You're not a medical person. So there are a lot of things that are paid directly to hospitals, doctors, and all that there. Let's not talk about the property damage it caused. You don't know how much it cost when you took out that telephone pole. You don't know how much these things cost. Have you ever looked it up? Could you ever find the true cost? Because even if you just took out the pole, that ain't telling you how much the pole was. What else did the pole hit? What other kind of damage did it cause that now you're responsible for? Nobody's giving you those kind of numbers. Nobody giving you a breakdown of that. So, actually, and this is even showing you how your insurance serves you with a twofold purpose. Not only are you getting it, most people are thinking in terms of how it's going to protect you. You ain't think about the other person, and that's kind of the main point of the insurance, to have the liability. Because no matter what else you buy on your policy and you choose to have, that liability is the first line on your policy. You got to have it. Got to, have to, whatever term you want to use. I'm not, proper etiquette, not etiquette, proper English, have to have it. Liability is the law. Nothing else is the law. Liability. What you responsible for fixing. What you responsible for repairing. What you're responsible for correcting, making right. That's a liability. That's the law. Anything else, if you ain't covering your own vehicle yourself, who cares? It's not the law. That is totally your right. But you don't get the right to determine whether or not you want to be responsible for the other party's damages. Things that you have caused. Think about that. So your insurance does a lot, even with that first line of coverage that you get sick of how insurance is costing. And a lot of times a big chunk of the premium is caught up there. Ain't nothing you're going to be able to do to get that part of the premium down. If that part of the premium is high, let's hope you don't need collision. Collision is the next thing that's high. We ain't talking about that right now today. But anyway, the liability, what you done caused. And most people talk to, oh, I don't have accidents. I don't get in accidents because it ain't never my fault. Never my fault. You don't know how many times I done heard that. I can actually say that. If I go, well, I write my own policy, but I go write my own policy. I can say that. I don't have accidents. When I think about it, I done almost caused some. Thankfully, it didn't happen. One time I came so close to a car, I'm just like, what was I thinking? Had to slam on the brakes all hard, was kind of embarrassed with the way the tires squealed. I was sitting right next to some people. There were some people inside of me, in the front of me, and on the other side of me. Then I'm going to try to play it off like I'm beeping to the music with the windows open, hoping they can't see through the tent. Because, when you on this side of the tent, it seemed like they can see you. But I'm just hoping it didn't, because my face was like, oh, my God, I can't believe I almost did that. Nobody's perfect. So much going on in the world today, you don't know where your mind is. And granted, I don't go around doing that normally, thankfully. But anyway, anybody can have an accident. Anything can happen to anybody anytime. Go hit a pothole. Well, pothole is just going to tear up your car. And let's hope you got some collision and some collision coverage, because that's where that's going to be. But anyway, liability. You are responsible for that other person. It's the law. Take care of your responsibilities. Have that line, if nothing else, because there's plenty of you riding around without that. Just waiting until time to renew your license plate. That's when you want to come. And don't come back to me a second time because I ain't doing it. I am not writing that policy a second time if you didn't come back to me till next year. Because I know what you're doing. You're getting it to keep it 1 month, paying for 1 month, and then just going it without it. You know, y'all some brave souls. Brave souls to be doing that there. What grown adult riding around here without insurance? Plenty of you. I mean, some people you would never think that would do it. You know, back in the beginning of my insurance days, I learned though. I learned. Took me a minute, but I learned. I would go following people, trying to get signatures when it was hard for people to get signatures, you know, get it done so they could get their insurance. Because I'm like, I know you don't want to drive without insurance because that was never a part of my life. From my grandparents, I don't know about my great-grandparents. I didn't know them, but my grandparents, I knew them a long, long time. From my grandparents on down, my mama, all of them, aunts, uncles, everybody had insurance. That was the thing. We didn't worry about driving around with somebody without insurance. They had insurance. So I never, that's not something I ever would have thought of. So there were this one woman, I'll never forget her. I done drove a good 20 miles to go get her because she was going to be getting off work and didn't have a way to get me the signature. She couldn't e-sign. She couldn't do nothing. I drove out to give her insurance card so she could be legal driving back home that day. Drove out. Guess what happened? Gave me a bad check. Bad check. And what's funny about it, a policeman in a whole nother little city, not far away, but on the opposite side of the city, called me 3-4 years later asking about that policy. Why would you call asking about a policy that was back some years ago on a card? Didn't even keep it that month, and I happen to remember. So when the police department called me, I said, "Oh, that was never a good policy because she gave me a bad check." Bad check, y'all. Needless to say, I learned real quick. I ain't hunting you down. I ain't saying I ain't never done it before because there are some people that it does seem legitimate, and I have had some pretty good, you know, have been kind of able to screen it pretty good that I ain't really had no example like that anymore. But you learn real quick. You're in business trying to help people. Usually the people that need the most help are the people you shouldn't help. So what I found out, at least about 85% of the time, maybe 90% of the time. But anyway, we do have to remember it is what it is, but just be careful. Make sure you get your liability. Don't forget.